Okay, I'm recording.
Okay, hi.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Robert. I'm Angela.
Chris.
Okay, you guys go ahead and tell about your experiences of what you felt and thought of the villa.
I think everything started for me and Angela here in the servants' quarters. Don't you think?
Where's the servants' quarters?
You know where the stairs were that the servants went up on that side?
Where the guy hung himself.
And we were like, there was something that guy that hung himself.
And we pointed exactly to the same spot at the same exact time.
And I did a recording on things, and I ended up catching something that said, "That's me."
I have this, I don't know, I sensed that somebody was either, they hung themselves or got hung in that spot right there by the stairs. It was a very heavy feeling, and so I knew something bad had happened. Usually when it's heavy, it's something that's not turmoil or something like that.
Even before we got there, both me and her said there was a little girl in the window pointing to the area.
On the back side of the house, and we looked up, and I said, "There's a little girl right there," and we both pointed to her at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, just before we went in there, we knew that there was lots of presence of things in there.
Psychology explains, that if two people experience the same phenomenon, that it's most likely provable that it's not just a supernatural matter, that there's actual fact to it. There's no such thing as a shared delusion, so you're right to account.
You have to be able to share the same delusion, I guess.
I think Chris, when he was down there with Angela, he started feeling really hot.
Oh, talk about the hot, okay. So, Chris and I and Ken, is that who was down there? Ken, we were all downstairs, and we had the meter.
What was that?
It was the
EMF meter when we were going down the stairs, right before we started to go down the stairs in the, what is it called? The doorway.
Yep.
There was a very high reading. It went all the way, it kept flashing red, hitting red, hitting red.
And every time anybody went into that area, like all of us went there was always a higher reading than one spot.
Where was this?
At the very top of the basement stairs.
Yep, very top.
Right in the threshold. But once you pass that threshold of the top of the stairs, it was relieved. Like the feeling just, it went away, and the meter went completely down to nothing. Yep. And then you got to the bottom of the stairs, and then I don't know what happened.
Well, when I first went downstairs, I didn't have any EMF reading at the top of the stairs, but in the far back room, it really picked up for me, and then pretty much followed me to the top of the stairs, and then we were all getting high readings at the top of the stairs when we crossed that threshold.
Yeah.
And then again, not really anywhere in the basement, but that far back room.
Actually, in that same spot he's talking about, I ended up catching something saying, "They're coming." I don't know what it meant, but I know that when she was in there, she felt this really sharp pain in her stomach. And
yeah, my stomach was in knots. Like, that was after I felt like I was on fire. So, but when I went down there with Chris and Ken, we started to go into the back room where they were getting the high readings at. And the minute I stepped into that back room, I don't know, from my feet all the way to my head, I felt like my whole body, like my core, was literally burning on fire. And I started sweating, and I was clamming, I was freaking out, and I took off running upstairs, and I went directly outside, and I talked to Dave and his wife, and I was sweaty, and they felt my head, and I felt like I was burning on fire. And come to find out, the next morning when there was light, and it was light down there, it looked like there was an infirmary that they had put brick over to cover it up, right on the right side of where I was standing when I actually felt like I was on fire.
I think it was because she was a female, and that sense of like childhood and everything else, she felt that a lot more present than myself.
Yeah, and that feeling was very, I don't know, my whole core was on fire, and it was very scary. And then on my way up, I just had this flash, and I saw this young girl. I don't know if she could have been anywhere from like 10 to 13 years old, possibly. And she had a very light blue dress on, and like this white thing that covered over the top. Like, I don't know if it was an apron or whatnot. And she had blood just from like her private areas all the way up, almost to her neck, just covered in blood. And she had the look of like holy terror on her face. Like, it was like she was scared, and all the like she was scared, and she didn't know what was going on, and all that fear in her eyes I could see. And then then I ran upstairs.
What did the girl look like?
She had either blonde hair or strawberry blonde hair, but when I went upstairs later, I found out from the owner's husband that he had also seen the same girl downstairs too. Described her just as I had described her to him.
And
which
I
I
know
thought
me
was
and her
odd.
both thought we saw her right in that window. Not so much physically, but we could get like a mental picture of what she looked like.
Yeah.
I know later on towards the night, Angela and Chris were sleeping upstairs, and
And you kept waking us up.
well, Dave's wife was actually down in another room.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on. But at the same time that I was on fire, the little thing, the spirit box upstairs, at the same time it said fire. That I came up the stairs.
Yep.
Is that how I don't even know.
Yeah, and I know
Oh,
the
yeah.
same time that happened,
Yeah.
when she was at the top of the stairs, they were still playing with the spirit box, and something said hair as it played with her hair.
Oh yeah, there was somebody playing with my hair when we were sleeping, and I was freaking out because you're like, Chris is like, it's just gravity, go back to bed, and my hair's going like this, and I'm like, yeah, gravity's down. What are you talking about?
I tried. I didn't personally see or hear too much when I was there. EMF readings were the main thing that I get.
I know the first day, or the first time we went up there, she was like, is this bird poop? And then something's like, no.
I don't know. Go ahead. What were you saying?
That was about it.
All right.
You were getting messed with when I was trying to sleep.
And tell me it's gravity. That's not gravity, dude. Your hair's going up.
And then me turning off the lights on you.
Yeah. And shutting the door.
I didn't shut the door.
Well, somebody shut the door when we were up there.
No, I shut the door once when I was going through towards the last part of the night, but I never shut it.
You had too much coffee. But anyways, the next day, it was like the greatest for me because I had the meter, and I was talking to somebody, and they told me to get the baby out, and I don't know what that was, but it said so on the spirit box. It played back. It said little Jesus, and then I kept talking to this person. I don't know. I think it was a girl, and she said, "Get the baby out." I said, "How can I help you?" She said, "Get the baby out," and yeah, and I was supposed to go back and talk to her, and I never did, and I feel bad about that. So yeah,
I know
there's
when we were
that.
downstairs, I ended up feeling something, and I could get like a general idea where it was. And I kept having him like point the spirit box to where it was so it could talk. And he kept trying to talk to us, whatever that figure was down in the room. And you know, we would get like little tidbits, but nothing really clear. Your son, and then the older chap.
You heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, we're running low on power.
Okay.
But I think that about sums up our experiences.
It was pretty amazing.
It was.
Now, that hole downstairs in the corner
Yeah.
that something was digging at, I have a funny feeling that's what she meant by get the baby out.
Yeah.
I think there's something, a baby
Probably.
buried there.
Yeah.
They probably want to, release her spirit.
They probably did a lot of bad things in that basement, and I think that the Lady Goldie that used to live there, this is my theory on the whole thing, I think the Lady Goldie that they found passed away in that rocking chair with the pistol and with all black, I think she was a witch, but I think she was a good witch, and I think she placed like some kind of spell or something, so whatever is down in the basement cannot come up. Like there's a barrier.
That's
Yep.
the same thing Jason said.
And I'm gonna, that was my theory.
Maybe she prayed to God, and she's like, God, protect us, make it so nothing can cross this threshold.
And I
Yeah.
think she was sitting there with her pistol to protect whatever was in there. The little girl or whatever's upstairs.
Yeah, Jason is a Wiccan.
Yeah.
And he went down there and he came back up. And he thinks the same thing, but that Goldie put a spell or something on that door
Mm-hmm.
to keep whatever's negative down there.
And if I may, that lady that camps out outside of the house all the time, the lady that said she was an oracle, I think that possibly my theory with this, I know
She gave me an off feeling.
she was back there and I didn't know the story behind it until afterwards, but we heard that she sets out and asks people that go in there as groups if she can go in with them. And I've never in my life said anything about anything to anybody that's not normal. And I looked at her and I said, "So how long have you been practicing?" And she knew exactly what I meant. And she said, "That's what the demons tell me is I'm a witch." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And it occurred to me that possibly, maybe she wants to get in there to undo that spell is what my theory is. Because
Yeah.
she did not have a good
She gave
vibe.
me a bad
And I
feeling,
think that she practiced probably black magic is what I think. I don't know. But I've never talked to any other person in the world like that, and I just looked her dead in the eye and I said, "How long have you been practicing?" And she just looked at me like, "Oh shit." And she's like, "I'm an oracle." Well, an oracle is not, no, there's no demons that are going to call a witch a demon, or whatever. Demons
Yeah.
are not going to call an oracle a witch if she's not.
I did notice
So-
with her speech patterns, because I also
But
studied
she knew
vocal
right away what I was
analysis,
talking about.
that her speech patterns were very irregular, and they were very chaotic. And
Yeah.
formulating sentences, it was almost as if she had some sort of substance that she was abusing.
Yeah. She didn't seem like her mind was on track when she was
No.
She
talking.
just wanted
She
them
jumped
out.
around too much.
She did.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
I'm gonna
my
shut
thoughts
this
on
thing
that.
off.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Why didn't you just pay her $40?